Thank you so much for coming to this presentation from HyperSKU. My name is Simon. Today we're going to talk about the behind the scenes secrets of seven-figure dropshipping. We're going to talk about dropshipping. So please remember, we are also live on the backstage to answer any of your questions during the presentation. So just look for us, start chatting, and we will reply your message or your questions. So don't have to wait until the end. We're available basically all day to answer any of your questions. Dropshipping is a very growing market, and we want to share a little bit more about how to become successful, and particularly about the supply chain, on how to arrange your logistics, your fulfillment, your operations. So today we're going to go through it, a little bit about myself, then about dropshipping, the seven-figure secrets, and how a little bit about the company itself, and then of course the holiday season. This holiday season is going to be huge when it comes to sales, but it's going to have a lot of headaches as well to consider for the supply chain. So to better be prepared. This presentation is for anyone who's interested in dropshipping or is involved in the industry or is a dropshipper themselves and want to bring themselves to the next level. Hopefully it's useful and we can be of service to you in the future. A little bit about myself. So my name is Simon de Raad, and I've been living in China. So I'm currently based here in Shenzhen, China. I've been living here for 10 years. And over these years, I've done several roles, but most of the roles have been into e-commerce, into logistics, all about cross-border trade. So besides, now I'm the VP, Vice President for eTailer Hub. That's the company name of the group. And our brand name is HyperSKU. And I'm responsible for Europe. And so for me, I'm originally from the Netherlands. I'm helping European dropshippers with their business, with their sourcing, with their fulfillment and shipping from China. So a little bit, again, we have a virtual booth. Look us up. Our team is standby to answer any of your questions. So let's just kick off. Probably you know about dropshipping, but just to make sure, because the audience, maybe some are less familiar about it, what is dropshipping? So we wrote down a definition. Basically, it's selling products online without holding any inventory or limited investments, and you schedule your own time. You decide when you work. And this is a very popular way of doing business now because we see that people are working from home. People also losing their job. They're looking for a side business. So dropshipping is definitely a way where people think they can get another income flow of income, an income stream, and it's also a way to make use of the trend of selling online. So dropshipping is quite a hot topic and still keeps growing. There are definitely downsides to it, but we will get to it. So the most common model with dropshipping is basically you have a supplier, you have your store, and you have a consumer. And the supplier can either be in nearby, overseas in a warehouse in Europe, US, or anywhere, or in China. So in our case, suppliers are based in China. The store is run by the dropshipper, and the consumer will go to that store to purchase the order. So basically, the dropshipper, they purchase the product in China or in another supplier. They pay for the goods, including the shipping, and it's sent directly to the consumer. So they're not touching anything of the parcel or anything of the product. They don't seeing it. You're doing the market research of which product sells well. You place the order, and the order is shipped out. That's the most common way of doing dropshipping and the easiest way to describe it. And of course, there's a markup. You buy cheaper than you sell. And that's basically the business model for you to grow your revenue stream. So about seven-figure secrets, because I see so many influencers and coaches online and people that are advertising of being a seven-figure seller. So I want to share a little bit with you of how to become one, what obstacles to overcome, and also a little bit of breakdown of what it actually means. Seven-figure is that how many parcels are involved, how many orders. So just to give you a little bit of understanding, and then by doing that, you will see as well the complexity and at the same time the value we might be able to offer. So to become a seven-figure seller it's in the end all about scalability. If you do one order per day, it's not that interesting to actually be a dropshipper. So it's actually about getting to a certain scale. The more orders, the more revenue, obviously, the more profit. So finding the right product is very important, and then going into the advertising, and then building it up to more and more countries or more products to get a bigger scale. So to be able to be different than others and make sure you stand out, you have to think about your step two, the differentiation. So how are you going to compete? Because most of the products are coming from China. Whether you're buying on Amazon or on eBay or any local platform in your home country, majority is coming from China. So someone is buying it, putting it in a warehouse and selling it. So how do you stand out? How do you make yourself different? That's a key question to become a successful seven-figure seller. So it comes down to your advertising. It comes down to your branding, your packaging, definitely the story you want to tell, the value the product can bring. So there are definitely a lot of ways to differentiate. Because if you just take the picture of the supplier of AliExpress or Alibaba and you put it on your website, most people will not be triggered. So it's very important to consider the storyline, your website, the pictures, the videos, everything that you create so that you can actually stand out and people will be more likely to buy. Once you see these orders coming in, that's what everyone is hoping to get, right? Getting the orders in, you have to consider about the efficiency. More orders means more work and also more customer services. So it becomes more complex. You want to get more efficient, not just efficient when it comes to your order processing and maybe the payments and the customer service, but also managing your suppliers, managing the order handling, finding new products, all things that you need to be able to make your time investment less. And in the end, the biggest obstacle for seven-figure sellers is how to become more efficient. Because if you're more efficient, you have more time left to scale your business. Otherwise, you become an operator, right? You become almost one working on your store. So the majority of people are looking for virtual agents that can help them with the order handling, or they're looking for a partner that actually can help them to process the orders, share the tracking information, search for products, all these kind of things. So it's very important also to look at your personal efficiency, but also on your operation itself. So when the life cycle itself, so every dropshipper, they have their own strategy. Because main strategies you see is either you have a one product store, you have one website, for example on Shopify or WooCommerce, you have one store and there's one product, and you tell the story, and there's a click and people can click. There may be 5 products on that store because they're different sizes when it comes to clothing, maybe S, M, L, XL, or color, black, white, green, blue, etc. That's one strategy. The other strategy is have a multi-brand store where you have one store and you have multiple products. Could be in one category, so it can be fashion or it can be baby or women, like clothing, or it can be very broad, that you have all kinds of handy applications or accessories or things like that that you build that store. So both are fine. Both have definitely a different impact on the supply chain because one is maybe more easy to handle if it's one product and easier to scale, but at some point people stop buying. With a multi-product store, you can connect with the audience longer. They might do a rebuy faster, or they recommend you, or if it's clothing, the seasons might change, so they continue buying. So for every dropshipper, we basically see this life cycle. This life cycle is no different than any other life cycle that we see in the market, like what you will see on your in university or whatever you learn on schools. So this is just a normal life cycle. Always starts with the early phase where you're testing. You're testing which products works, which design works, which advertising works, and then from there you start to scale. You start to grow your business. You start to look at, okay, how can I optimize my features, my packaging? Can I do sell two at the same time? So make a bundle. Or can I at checkout, can I maybe offer another product to do some upselling, which will help you to boost your revenue and not in the, and still increase your cost, but much less than if you would buy a single product. One way is very much used is just putting stock. Because if you want to differentiate, it's just these three steps that I mentioned before, right? So if you go to scalability, differentiation, and efficiency, the differentiation is also can be transit time. Being able to deliver faster to the consumer is a way to differentiate. So by putting stock in a warehouse, it will already save you at least 2 to 4 days in a transit time. So the order comes in, can be sent out immediately. So that's something that you can also think of to optimize and sustain the growth so that more better reviews, more rebuy, maybe more referrals, all those kind of things. Then you see it's working, you find this winning product, or you found a combination of winning products, you can think of the branding. Many sellers are trying to already do the branding from the beginning. But if you're not really sure if your brand image is successful or the product is successful, it's still a little risky to invest a lot of money on making a logo, designing your products, making all these arrangements. So we've suggested the branding a little bit later. And the branding can be a very, very valuable later because you will see in the yellow part that is going down. At some point, you're maxing out. So you want to stretch this down curve as to as late a stage as possible. So a few ways to do that. We see dropshippers, they're focused on one country. So they're selling, for example, only in the USA. So you can maybe add other countries if you found a good one. So go to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or when you're selling in Europe, maybe add some more countries within Europe. That's one way where you can maybe extend your sales and stay longer on this wave. Another way is if you've built your brand, people can identify them. They're like, hey, this is a good brand. It's good quality. Let me see if they have more products. Or you can push more products of that brand. In this way, you maybe can create a new product that might be selling really well. So then you can capture the attention. So this is like a life cycle that we see because if you have a one product store quite often, the cycle repeats itself again and again and again. And that's very time consuming. It's also you have no security that it will happen again and which product will sell well. So if you want to think of your investments, it's very important to spend really a lot of time on the introduction phase before you start to scale and prepare a lot of other things. So to be able to actually scale and differentiate this kind of bundling and upselling that I just mentioned, I want to share with you a case study just to give you an understanding of what that means, the bundling. So the picture I put in here is a case of bundling. Bundling basically means instead of selling one, you're selling multiple of the same product. So you say, for example, buy two and get 50% off, or buy three and you have a certain price. Why is this interesting? This is interesting for two ways. Of course, first is your revenue goes up. So the revenue per order is increasing. The other part, which is very important, is that your cost doesn't increase as much as your revenue. So it's actually most of the product normally you can buy cheaper if you buy multiple pieces at the same time. That's one. The other is your logistics. Most of the shipping, especially shipping from China, you pay a fee per parcel and per weight. So if the weight increases, it's not the same percentage of increase. So that means that if your parcel, the fee is maybe $5, and then per kilo it's another $5. So that means if your parcel is 100 gram, that $5 plus 50 cents will be $5 and 5.5 US dollar. If you add another product which is another 100 gram, then it will be 200 grams, so it will be plus another dollar, so it will be $6. So it will not be 2 times 5. So that's something that you can actually differentiate. So your margin per order or the cost per product, the way you look at it, is going to go down. So this is important. When in this case study, we just share one product. You can see they sell by one piece, by two piece, and by three piece. So you see the product cost, shipping cost, what's the total cost, and what's then the cost per product. And most are selling it as free shipping. Well, actually, the shipping is already included in the price. So this is a way of boosting your sales and becoming a seven-figure seller. And can have a lot of benefits for yourself. So a seven-figure seller, I always wondered, and I wanted to break it down for you as well. It helped me a lot to understand. I see many people advertising seven-figure sellers. So how much do they actually earn bottom line? So I put some numbers just as a benchmark. It's not, there's a lot of average because every dropshipper has different margins, different costs, different products, etc. So I just put three cases next to each other. And all of them seven-figure seller, so basically seven figures comes down to at least 1 million US dollar. So if you're selling a product of 10 US dollar, sales price 10 US dollar, or 30 US dollar, or 60 US dollar, what will be then your cost, your bottom line, roughly, and how many orders do you have to process? And it's important to understand because the more orders you do, the more questions you get, the more complex it becomes, but obviously also the more you earn. So to see the scope of it. So when you are selling, want to have 1 million US dollar in sales, if you're selling products with an average value of 10 US dollar, basically your gross profit is around 2 US dollar. So normally it's around the range 2 to 30%. Advertising is a very big part of the cost that people underestimate. Advertising almost comes down to 30% of the cost. So if you want to do 1 million US dollar with 10 US dollar sales price, you need to do 100,000 orders a year because the seven figure is based on annual revenue. Then it comes down to per month, that's over 8,000 orders per month. That's around 280 orders a day. So that's quite a lot of orders that you have to fulfill. Of course, once you increase your sales price or you select a different category, the orders you have to do per day goes down a lot to reach that certain value. So as a reference, if you're doing one order a day, obviously this dropshipping business is not that interesting. If you start to do 10 orders a day, then it can be a nice side hustle. It's a extra flow of income. Once you get to 50 orders a day, you're getting close to your mark of becoming a seven-figure seller. You will definitely be a six-figure seller if you can sustain this over time, but you are on your way to get a seven-figure seller. So once you get to 100, it's quite certain that you'll become a seven-figure seller. So this gives you a little bit of an understanding of the breakdown of what it means in numbers. Because if you want to set goals, you need to know what kind of goals you need to set to become this. Once you get to a seven-figure seller, there's some challenges that you have to consider. Because to become a seven-figure seller, you have to have daily sales that you sell, right? The daily orders. So finding the right product and really spending effort on this research. Checking reviews, checking other stores. A lot of people using Amazon. There are many tools in the market to do that. Not just go based on your own. If you're based on your own understanding, this is a good product, and you're gonna go for all that. It's not most of the time it's not working. You are not the buyer, so you have to really look for supportive data, but most of all try which work and what doesn't work. It's very important to actually invest some time in this in the research. But it is a challenge because it's ongoing. You always have to find a new product because this product is gonna wear out, especially for season or trendy products. It's gonna run out. So then you're gonna start maybe running more stores because once you've made one successful, you want to find more. So opening another store, running multiple stores at the same time with different products, different storylines is also tricky. That's difficult to scale. Then you have multiple suppliers to handle. There's also another extra level that comes with it on the communication, on the management. and you want to build a brand. So you want to stand out from the others. And at the same time, decide your advertising strategy using Facebook, YouTube, Google, maybe some social media channels. Oh, because this year social media has been a big driver of traffic. So this is definitely something that is an important part, but still costly. And then your cash flow. We see many sellers, they do well, but going from 10 to 50 also means that you still have to the payment flow. So most of the time, the consumer, they pay you, but the money is still held in, for example, your PayPal account. So you don't always have access to the money directly. So to be able to have a healthy cash flow is very important, to be able to pay for new incoming orders so that you can keep and maintain your flow. So these are definitely challenges. I will come back to you of how to overcome these challenges, because that's definitely a key point as well that you need to be aware of. So a little bit about HyperSKU. So our mission is basically to empower online sellers. We see that there's still many are struggling to scale, and you need a partner. You want to have an extension that is based in China, that has the experience, that has the team, and that can automate most of your service. You saw that with the efficiency, you have to find ways, shortcuts to scale faster. And finding a partner and automation and putting more structures in place, well, that saves you a lot of time and helps you to become more efficient. So we want to help online sellers, and we want to make the supply chain much more transparent, from sourcing to warehousing and to shipping. So again, if you have any questions, you're like, hey, I'm selling online, or I'm interested in doing this, or I'm managing so many suppliers at the same time, please send us a message. Go to our virtual booth, leave a message, and ask the question and see if we can be of service to you, or maybe give you some advice of something you're struggling with. We almost act like a virtual agent almost for your order handling. So when it comes to creating a sourcing request, this is a little bit of our system. You enter our system, you can search products, you can submit a sourcing request, you can see the price per product, the shipping cost, you can select your shipping method, you will see how long it takes before it being sent out, and the price, and you can do a calculation based on that. Once you see a good product, you can always talk to us first to see, okay, is there still something possible on the price? How many other products, colors, or weight can you offer? So definitely, the communication is going to be key, because if you want to build your brand, you need to tell your brand story, and someone needs to help you make that brand story a reality. So we're happy to serve you and help you to get to that stage and become a seven-figure seller. So check out our website, www.hypersku.com, and you will see much more answers, frequently asked questions. Basically, once you've connected the store, you can select the orders that you want to handle with us. You can tick them off. You can also still choose not to do everything with us, still have another agent or another supplier, and just select the ones you want to do with us. Go to pay. Obviously, with paying, you can use Payoneer as a payment method at the checkout, and you can select the shipping method that you want for that destination that you want to ship to. So it's quite easy to use. It's been very helpful, because once it's shipped out, the tracking number is available. This tracking number will automatically share it with your store. And that will be very useful, because there's much less error rates. Many agents are using Excel files. It's very easy to make a mistake. So we want to optimize it. We want to make it anything as automatic as possible. So when you look at the standard ways, how we try to be different, many are doing dropshipping with AliExpress. And AliExpress works fine. The assortment is huge. So you have so many choices. So that's definitely no problem. But what many people don't know is that on AliExpress, you normally don't deal with the supplier. You quite often have a middleman. So you bring the order to the AliExpress store, and they place the order to someone else, and that someone else will actually send out your order. The AliExpress seller, most of the time, don't even have the products there. They're also a middleman. So that means that you actually have to add pay for service. You always have to, the AliExpress seller also want to earn the money. So that's definitely something you have to consider. And we try to buy it directly from the supplier. So that will give us an advantage on the pricing. When it comes to sourcing, we basically source based on your request. But AliExpress is basically what you see is what you can get. So it's just you search on product and you click and you get it. And so in this way, we are investing much more in the brand and the store that you want to build. Product cost, we work with manufacturers, so they give us also discounts when we buy in bulk. So if there are multiple sellers, we can get also benefit out of this. And quite often sellers are offered the price on AliExpress as it's shown. There's still some negotiation, but we tend to see that we have a little bit more negotiation power. And shipping, well, shipping is a very important part. Most of the people that want to switch to our service, to HyperSKU service, is because of the shipping. And this one for peak season is going to be even more important because with AliExpress sometimes it takes 30 days, 40 days, 50 days, very long time. You to choose to select the right shipping method really helps a lot. It helps in your after service, after sales, your complaints, people that will leave a positive review. So in general, we have around most countries around 10 days shipping, at least from 7 days from our warehouse, so roughly around 10 days. And the tracking, there's fully tracked. So you can see everything followed all the way. While with postal shipments, with standard shipping of AliExpress or with ePacket, tracking is limited and not always complete. So when your consumer doesn't see it, the tracking, or I cannot find any update, you would definitely get a question. And then automation. So for us, it's a plugin. Basically, just connect your Shopify store. Orders are synced. Everything is visible. And the other ones normally they're third-party apps where still some manual work needs to be done for the uploads. And the last thing, what we think that is a very big advantage is you have one person to contact, and not having to deal with multiple people, multiple agents, multiple suppliers. It's much more convenient. And we're trying to build here also an international team to service you in your home language. And that's something, the communication is key. Because we want it to be transparent, we want it to be honest, and we want it to be clear. So that's definitely something how we want to differentiate compared to AliExpress. So basically, we are all in one drop shipping solution. So a supplier, we do the fulfillment, almost like a virtual assistant, where you can actually save money, save time, and improve your efficiency, which is all handled then by our system. So it's from the factory, quality control, packaging, fulfillment, the shipping, inventory management, and if needed, like reship and return service. So this all is handled in one system. And most of the players in the market, they're either good on the sourcing, or they're good in the shipping, or they offer a warehouse solution. There are not so many that are doing all of it, and the ones that do all of it, quite often it's an app. They plug in and they don't really touch the parcels themselves. We have our own warehouse, so we see the goods coming in. We know that the orders are actually there. We can actually take out the packaging, put a non-branded packaging on it, and ship it out to any destination with our own shipper method. In the end, we decide which shipper method we use for our existing solutions because we know which one works, right? We don't want to offer 30 days or 40 days or 50 days. If you want to, we can do it. It's just not something that we think we can differentiate ourselves as a vendor. So before you saw these challenges that I mentioned about becoming a seven-figure seller, the product research, the running multiple stores, working with multiple suppliers, branding, advertising, cash flow. So these all, you can actually map them on this growth chart that we saw, where you have to do the research in the beginning, you start to grow, start to build up your multiple suppliers, multiple products, do the advertising, have to keep an eye on your cash flow. And we basically, our system, whether you're small or big, is give you clarity on all of these steps. It will enable you. So that most of the things you don't have to think about anymore, except for which products do you want to sell, how you do your advertising. But your supply chain itself is all managed. So that burden we will take away from you so that you can focus on your growth and continue your growth for as long as possible. So that's a little bit about the company and about how to become a seven-figure seller and become a little more efficient. Before we close this presentation, I want to make this message on the holiday season. We want you to be very aware because this holiday season is not going to be, it's going to be different than anything else. Last year, you see normally holiday season means at least Q4, the quarter 4, is normally the same sales as the rest of the year, Q1 till 3. So normally it's quite high. And it's all squeezed into a short time frame. And currently, supply chain is really struggling because there's limited flights. Some factories don't even have enough suppliers, enough supply, so they also have to produce. So we want you to be aware of the risks that the holiday season come with it, and maybe you can prepare better for it so you can maximize it and become a seven-figure seller yourself. So the four main, obviously, four main selling moments online: Halloween, Black Friday, Christmas, and Chinese New Year. Mostly the impact. Chinese New Year is 2021 is middle of February, so that means that early February factories will already close. So if you want to, the whole month of February will be very difficult to get your goods. And so that means that you already have to start placing orders in December or preparing for it to be able to have stock available for you to ship out. So that's very important, the planning. And for Christmas and Black Friday, because we expect a volume growth, it's going to be very challenging on the logistics. So how does it impact you? So while you're selling online, people expect festival means discount. But you actually might be dealing with much more cost than you would normally have. So products normally become more expensive during the end of the year. The suppliers actually will raise their cost because they can choose which orders they take. The rest of the year they can be less picky. The end of the year, normally they can be more picky and increase the price. It's just supply and demand. It's very logical. Shipping costs will go up because there's limited availability of space. So that's something that you need to be careful of. We really recommend to stay away from ePacket or AliExpress standard shipping and go for a more express kind of solution with UnExpress or Yanran or CNE or any other shipping method. For us, they're all in our system. They're all available. So the choice is yours, or we help you make that choice. But these costs will definitely come up. So that means you actually have to consider this, the increase in cost. Transit time, like I mentioned, production time, it takes longer before. If you want to buy 50 pieces or you have 50 orders, it might take a few days longer than you were used to. So this definitely has an impact. In the end, Q4, it's much more about volume. It's not so much about margin. Yes, you want to have a margin, but the more volume you do, the higher your absolute margin will be. Your percentage margin might go down. So what's basically our advice for you to prepare for the festival is consider overseas warehouse or put it already in a stock position in a warehouse in China. For example, our facility or any facility, so that you don't have this delay time once the orders are coming in. I know it's riskier or you have to have a cash flow issue maybe, but as long as your products are not seasonal products, you can still sell them after the peak season as well. Second is be very aware of your pricing. Be able to be flexible on the pricing, to just go up and down a little bit over time, so that you can absorb the cost that might increase. Otherwise, you end up losing money, and I don't want that to happen to you. Avoiding the e-packet, make a plan. Really sit down and make a plan. What products I'm going to do? What estimations do you think you can do? You can be cautious in it, but you have to realize that once you order in November, you probably will have to continue for another 3 months until you can place a new order. So it is the timely planning is very, very important. And then be honest about the communication to the consumer. What can they expect? Make a notification in your store. due to the peak season, there might be some delays because, and then you can put a time frame in there. So that will save you a lot of time and effort. When it comes to products, this year we see many different products, different than normal, that are successful. And basically, it's common sense because people start to work from home or study from home. So what do you need? Equipment, tools, things to study and work and create your own office or study area. So these products are selling well. People spend more time in the house, so they start to decorate their house. They start to do it yourself, try to fix things in the house. Pay attention to their garden, especially during the summertime, but also in the winter. Spend more time outdoors in your garden because it's the only safe place you can go to because the rest might be on lockdown or might be more difficult to reach. Then products regarding health and wellness. So we see fitness and health also related to yoga and wellness, but sleeping, very important category that people spend more time in the house. They take a nap or they sleep more. We see that product is really, really growing fast. And then what that's my personal prediction is that this corona, the COVID, has been lasted for, I think it's 6 months now, let's say March, April. So normally, how long does it take before a baby is delivered until conceived? Around 9 months, right? So we expect also that the baby industry is gonna be more. There will be more babies coming due to the time we're spending more time together, and that's something that's a trend that we predict. And besides, baby is a great category to do because a baby grows out of their clothing, and you can sell a new size or a new model. So it's also easier to grow this as a niche. So all of these categories, all suggestions, they're not related to Christmas or Halloween or Black Friday, but it's more a trend that we see that we think it will be sustainable. And even if you put stock, there's no expiration date, there's no risk. There might be some trendy things that might get outdated, but the risk is limited for you in that sense. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Simon de Raad. You can check our website, hypersku.com. You can follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, visit our virtual booth. Our team is ready to answer your questions. We'll be there, stand by. Very happy to have the chance. Thank you so much, Payoneer, for allowing us to be on your show, on your event. So far, it's been amazing to see all the valuable content that you've been sharing. Very diverse audience, very diverse speakers. So thanks a lot that we have this chance to present our story, and hope to see you in our virtual booth.